Alright, I don't know where else to put this. A friend told me about this place. Said you guys are more open-minded than most. I need to get this out, to write it all down, because I feel like I'm either going insane or I'm in some kind of serious trouble. Maybe both. It started, or I should say, I first noticed it, when I was about 16. We lived in the same apartment my whole life. An old pre-war building, the kind with thick walls, high ceilings, and a layout that felt like it was designed by someone who hated straight lines. My room was at the end of a long, narrow hallway that branched off from the main living area. It was always the darkest part of the apartment, the part where the overhead light fixture never seemed to be bright enough. At the very end of this hallway, past my bedroom door on the left and the small linen closet on the right, was a solid wall, or what was supposed to be a solid wall. Except for me, it wasn't. For me, there was a door. It wasn't ornate or spooky. It was the opposite, which was almost worse. It was a simple, flat-paneled wooden door, painted the same shade of landlord special off-white as everything else. But it was wrong. The frame was just a little too thin, the brass doorknob a little too tarnished compared to the others. It didn't belong. I knew, with the kind of deep, instinctual certainty you can't explain, that if I measured the building's exterior and then my family's apartment, there would be a chunk of space unaccounted for, a room-sized chunk. The first time I tried to open it, I was just curious. I'd walked down the hall to go to my room and just stopped in front of it. My hand reached out, my fingers wrapping around the cool, smooth metal of the knob. It was real. It felt solid under my palm. Before I could turn it, my mom's voice cut through the quiet from the kitchen. "Honey, dinner's almost ready." "What are you doing back there?" "Just coming," I called back, my hand still on the knob. I heard her footsteps, the soft shuffle of her slippers on the hardwood floor. She came around the corner and her smile faltered for a fraction of a second. It was a look of immense, profound weariness. "What are you doing?" she asked, her voice soft. "I was just wondering what's in here," I said, gesturing to the door. "I don't think I've ever seen it open." She blinked slowly. "Seen what open?" "Sweetie, this door." She followed my gaze, her eyes landing on the space my hand was occupying. She looked at me, then at the wall, then back at me. Her expression was one of pained confusion, the kind you'd give a beloved pet that had suddenly forgotten how to walk. "You're standing in front of the wall," she said, her voice gentle but firm. "Come on, let's eat. You must be tired." She didn't wait for me to respond. She just turned and walked away. I stood there for a moment, my hand hovering in the air where the doorknob had been. I looked back. It was still there. The door, the frame, the knob. I could see the faint hairline cracks in the paint. I reached out again and my fingers brushed against cold, textured plaster. The door was gone. There was only a wall. I shook my head, a cold sweat breaking out on my neck. I felt dizzy. I must have imagined it. Stress from school, maybe. I went to the kitchen and ate dinner, and nobody mentioned it again. But it kept happening. I'd be walking down the hall and there it would be. I'd catch a glimpse of it from the corner of my eye. Sometimes, I'd stop and stare, trying to will it to stay, to prove I wasn't losing my mind. But the moment I tried to focus, to really commit to interacting with it, someone would intervene. My younger sister was the most direct. I was standing there one afternoon, just looking at it, my heart pounding in my chest. She came barreling down the hall, phone in hand. "What's your problem?" she asked, not even looking up. "What do you mean? You're always doing this. Standing here like a creep, staring at the wall." "It's weird. It's not a wall," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "It's a door." She finally looked up from her screen, an expression of genuine annoyance on her face. "Okay, whatever. You're blocking the hall." She pushed past me, her shoulder bumping mine, and disappeared into her room. I looked back. The door was there, solid and silent. My dad was the worst though. His reaction wasn't confusion like my mom's, or annoyance like my sister's. It was a deep, quiet anger, an anger that felt like it was covering up something else. One night I couldn't sleep. The apartment was silent. Everyone was in bed. I crept out of my room and down the hall. The moonlight from the living room window barely reached back here, casting long, distorted shadows. And in the gloom, the door seemed more real than ever. I could almost smell the dust and stale air that I imagined was behind it. I took a deep breath and reached for the knob. My fingers were an inch away when his voice came from the darkness behind me. "Don't." I spun around. My dad was standing at the other end of the hall, just a silhouette against the faint light. I couldn't see his face. I was just, double quotes, "Go back to bed," he said. His voice was flat, devoid of any emotion, but it carried a weight that made my blood run cold. "There is nothing there for you, but I see it," I pleaded, my voice cracking. "Dad, there's a door here. There is a wall," he said, and he took a step forward. "You're tired. Your mind is playing tricks on you. Go to sleep now." I didn't argue. There was something in his tone that told me this was not a discussion. I scurried back to my room and lay in bed, my body trembling. I had never seen him like that. It wasn't just a father telling his son to go to bed. It felt like a guard warning a prisoner away from the fence. That's when I started hearing the sounds. At first it was so faint I thought it was the pipes or the neighbors upstairs, a soft scratching like a mouse behind the plaster. But it was always coming from the same spot, from behind the door. Then, the scratching became more frantic, more ... intentional, like fingernails dragging down a wooden surface. I'd lie awake at night, my ear pressed to my own bedroom wall, trying to make sense of it. I told myself it was rats, big ones, but I knew it wasn't. One evening while I was doing homework, I heard it. A voice. It was muffled, indistinct, but it was unmistakably human. A cry. A short, desperate sob that was cut off abruptly. I shot out of my chair and ran into the hall. The door was there, stark and white under the dim light. I pressed my ear against it, my whole body shaking. Silenced. Did you hear that? I yelled, my voice echoing in the apartment. My mom appeared from the living room, a book in her hand. Hear what, honey? You shouted. A cry. It came from in here. I slapped my hand against the flat surface of the door. She sighed, that same tired look on her face. There's no in here. It's Mr. Henderson's apartment on the other side of that wall. He's a 90-year-old man. Maybe he had the television on. It didn't sound like a TV, I insisted. It sounded like someone was hurt. My dad came and stood next to her. He looked past me, at the wall, and his jaw was tight. Knock it off, he said, his voice low. You're scaring your mother. I'm not trying to scare anyone. I'm telling you what I heard. The sounds became more frequent after that. The pleading was clearer. Help me, it would whisper, a thin, reedy voice that seemed to seep through the wood. Please, it's so dark in here. Sometimes it was a man's voice, sometimes a woman's, sometimes it sounded like a child. I was the only one who heard it. I tried to record it, but all I ever got was static and the low hum of the building. I was becoming a ghost in my own home. I lost weight. I stopped talking much at dinner. I spent most of my time in my room, with headphones on, trying to block out the whispers from the end of the hall. My family started treating me like I was made of glass. They spoke in soft, placating tones. My mom would leave snacks outside my door. My sister stopped making fun of me and just avoided me. They were walking on eggshells, and it was suffocating. They thought I was going crazy. I was starting to believe them. The breaking point came a few years later, when I was home for my first year of college. I thought maybe getting away would have fixed it, that the distance would have reset my brain. But the moment I walked down that hallway, it was there. The door, it was like it had been waiting for me. And that night, the sounds were worse than ever. It wasn't just whispers anymore, it was screaming, a high, thin shriek of pure terror that went on and on. I burst out of my room, my hands over my ears. Can't you hear that? For God's sake, how can you not hear that? My parents were in the living room watching TV. The sound from the television was completely drowned out by the screaming in my head. My dad stood up, his face pale. My mom was crying silently. Make it stop, I begged him, tears streaming down my face. Dad, please, you have to do something. He walked over to me, his steps heavy. He put his hands on my shoulders, his grip like iron. He looked me straight in the eyes, and his own were filled with a terrible, familiar pain. Listen to me, he said, his voice ragged. You have to be strong. You have to ignore it, just ... Block it out. I can't, it's so loud. And then he said the words that changed everything. He leaned in closer, his voice dropping to a harsh whisper, his eyes wild with a desperation I'd never seen before. I know, he gritted out. It's louder for you than it was for your grandfather. The screaming in my head stopped. The world went silent. What? I breathed. He realized what he'd said. The strength went out of his arms and he stumbled back, his face ashen. I didn't mean ... double quotes. What did you mean? I demanded, following him as he backed away. What was it like for Grandpa? My mom was openly sobbing now. Don't, she begged my dad. Please, don't. Grandpa died of a heart attack, I said, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. That's what you always told me. My dad wouldn't look at me. He just stared at the floor, his shoulders slumped in defeat. That's the simple version. It was a floodgate opening. I hounded him for days. I refused to let it go. That one sentence had validated my entire experience. I wasn't crazy. This was real. This was something that had happened before. Finally, he broke. He led me to the small, dusty storage closet at the back of the apartment, a place filled with old tax records and broken appliances. From the very back, under a pile of moth-eaten blankets, he pulled out a small wooden footlocker. Your grandmother gave this to me after he died, he said, his voice hollow. She told me to burn it. I never could. Inside was a collection of my grandfather's things. Old photos, a service medal, some letters, and at the bottom a thin leather-bound journal that belonged to his older brother, my great-uncle, a man no one ever spoke about. I took the journal to my room and opened it. The first few pages were dated from just after the Second World War. He wrote about coming home, about trying to find a job, about living with his parents and his younger brother, my grandfather, in this very apartment. His early entries were normal. He talked about the city, about a girl he liked, about his frustration with his family. Then, the tone started to shift. He mentioned the hallway. October 12th. There is a strange draft at the end of the hall, past my brother's room. Mother says it's just the old building settling, but it feels ... specific. It's coming from a door I don't remember being there before. It's plain white. It doesn't seem to lead anywhere according to the building plans Father keeps in his study. My blood turned to ice. I kept reading. October 29th. I tried to open the door today. My brother stopped me. He laughed and asked why I was trying to walk through a wall. When I looked again, he was right. There was only plaster, but I know what I saw. I'm not imagining it. He's young. He doesn't pay attention, but I saw it. November 15th. The sounds have started. A scratching. I thought it was a rat, but it's too rhythmic. And last night ... a voice, a woman, I think, crying for help. I asked Father if he heard it, and he became enraged. He told me I was not to go down that end of the hall again. He looked frightened. The entries grew more erratic. His handwriting, once neat and controlled, became a frantic scrawl. He described the same whispers, the same pleas for help. He wrote about his family's denial, their insistence that he was ill, that the war had done something to his mind. December 7th. They think I am mad. They talk about me when they think I cannot hear. They want to send me away, but I am not mad. There is someone trapped in that room. I hear them every night. They beg me to let them out. How can my own family be so cruel as to leave someone to suffer like that? They are the mad ones, not I. December 21st. It is so loud now. The screaming, it never stops. I cannot eat. I cannot sleep. My brother, my own brother, looks at me with pity. He does not hear. He does not understand. Only I can help them. December 23rd. I have to let them out. Below that, there was a clipping from a newspaper, yellowed and brittle, tucked into the back cover of the journal. It was a short article. It stated that my great-uncle had been committed to a state asylum after a violent psychotic episode in which he had attacked a wall in his family's apartment with a hammer. Claiming he was freeing the prisoners, he died in that asylum 30 years later. I closed the journal, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold it. I walked out into the living room, holding it like it was a bomb. My father was sitting on the couch, his head in his hands. My mother was next to him, her arm around his shoulders. They looked up as I entered. They already knew. It's not a sickness, I said, my voice dead. Is it? My father finally looked at me, his face a mask of grief. No, he said. It's worse. It's a thing, a burden. It attaches to one person in our family, each generation. It seems to choose the sons. It chose my uncle. It chose my father. And now it's chosen you. He told me everything. He said his father, my grandfather, had seen the door too, heard the sounds, but after seeing what happened to his brother, he chose a different path. He spent his entire life ignoring it. He drank heavily. He was a cold, distant man. He lived in a constant state of managed terror, fighting a battle no one else could see. The stress, my dad said, is what really killed him, not a heart attack. A lifetime of listening to the screams behind the door had just ... worn his body out. It's a parasite, my dad whispered, his eyes pleading with me. It feeds on attention. The more you focus on it, the more you listen, the stronger it gets, the louder it gets. Your great-uncle tried to fight it, to open the door. It consumed him. Your grandfather ignored it, and it poisoned him from the inside out. I've been lucky. It skipped me. I've never seen it, never heard it. All I could do was watch my father suffer and pray it wouldn't come for my son. He broke down then, a lifetime of fear and guilt pouring out of him. You have to be stronger than them, he sobbed. You have to live your life so fully, so loudly, that you drown it out. You have to forget that hallway even exists. Please. You have to be the one to starve it, to let it die. Just live your life and don't look back. I listened to all of it. I heard his words, I saw his tears. And a part of me, the logical, educated part, rejected it all. A curse, a generational parasite. It sounded like something from a fantasy novel. The more plausible explanation was so much simpler, and in its own way, sadder. My great-uncle had a severe mental illness. The trauma of it created a shared delusion, a piece of family folklore passed down through fear and suggestion. My grandfather likely had his own struggles, and my dad's anxiety manifested as this protective, frantic denial. And me. I was just the next in a line of men with a genetic predisposition to schizophrenia. That's what I chose to believe. It was the only sane option. I told them I needed to get away, not from them, but from the apartment, from the environment. I needed a fresh start, a place with no history, no dark hallways. My dad argued, begged me to stay where he could help, but I knew I couldn't. Staying felt like accepting the curse was real. Leaving felt like choosing sanity. I got a good job in a city 1,000 miles away. The move was a blur of boxes and goodbyes. The last time I saw my dad, he hugged me so tightly I could barely breathe. Be strong, he whispered in my ear. Don't listen. My new apartment is nothing like my old one. It's a modern high-rise, clean lines, lots of natural light, brand new everything. For the first 2 months it was perfect. It was quiet, blissfully, wonderfully quiet. I slept through the night for the first time in years. I was starting to feel normal. I was convinced I had made the right choice. I had escaped the family madness. Last night I finished unpacking the last of my boxes. I'd set up my office in the second bedroom. It was late and I was walking from the office to the kitchen to get a glass of water. The main living area is open plan, but there's a short hallway that leads to the master bedroom and bathroom. It's a small, functional space, a blank canvas, and at the end of it, where there is supposed to be a solid, featureless wall, there is a door. I stopped dead, the empty glass slipping from my hand and shattering on the floor. It's the same door, the exact same one. Plain, flat-paneled, painted a slightly too bright shade of white that doesn't quite match the rest of the trim. The same tarnished brass knob. It wasn't the apartment, it was never the apartment. It's me. I brought it with me. I stood there for what felt like hours, my bare feet just inches from the broken glass, my eyes fixed on the impossible door. My dad's words echoed in my head. It attaches to one person. My phone buzzed in my pocket. It was my dad. A text message just checking in. Everything okay? I couldn't answer. I couldn't move. Slowly, shakily, I took a step forward, and another. I stood before it, the impossible architecture of my personal hell. I could feel a faint, cold draft seeping from under it. My dad begged me to be strong, to ignore it, to live my life and starve it out. My great-uncle's diary proved the cost of trying to fight it, but they never considered a third option. Not fighting it, not ignoring it, accepting it. I leaned forward, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. I pressed my ear to the smooth, cool wood. At first there was only silence, a deep, profound quiet that was more unnerving than any scream. I held my breath, listening, and then I heard it, a faint scratching, and a whisper, so close it felt like it was on the other side of my own skin. Help me. My father begged me to be strong enough to ignore it. My grandfather was strong enough to ignore it, and it broke him. My great-uncle was strong enough to fight it, and it destroyed him. I don't know if I'm strong. All I know is that for the first time in my life, there's no one here to tell me to stop.